Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about the multiplayer combat editor. In this video we're going to learn how to create a skill behavior. So what is a skill behavior? It's basically just a skill, but if you followed the videos properly, I've talked about this a bit in the skills breakdown when I talked about what are the different skills you can find in MCE folder. And we were the previous skill videos, we were building our logic in a skill, and we were doing stuff like when that skill gets cancelled, we stop its animation montage and stuff like that. And we've been coding this in one skill, and maybe you want all of your skills to stop their animation montage when they are being cancelled. And if that's the case, you will find yourself forced to code this bunch of code to add this bunch of nodes in all of your skills, and that's not convenient. That's not what we want. We want to make it so the code we are writing over and over is actually just in one place, and we want to make it so we only need to write it in one place. And that's the logic of that's the main logic of object-oriented programming. We are not going to learn this to learn the logic in this video, but we are going to touch a little bit on that. For instance, right now, the logic is built in such a way that you have a skill class, you have an active skill class, and you have a montage skill class. And then you have the examples I created, like slash, or like the skill we created. BP slice is a child class of montage skill. So for instance, we have slash and slice, and we have a lot of other examples in MCE content folder. And I built the system in such a way that skills have all the properties, skills have all the logic to deal damage and stuff like that. Active skills have a logic that allows them to be stored in an active skill bar, and they can be activated, etc. And montage skill play an animation. And since it's built in a way that active skill are child class of skill, they automatically can deal damage. And since montage skill are child class of active skill, they can automatically be in an active skill bar and be activated. And since slash and slice are child class of montage skill, they always play an animation. So I do not have to code all of this in these blueprints to get the full power of the skills. And that's why I'm making this video. The montage skill is a skill I created to display the power of MCE, but it has a lot of built-in functions you might not want for your game. And I also created a weapon skill, which is a child of active skill, which has a lot of functions to handle weapons like recoil and stuff like that. So in this video, we are going to learn how to create your own behavior. And in this case, in this little overview, what I call behavior are weapon and montage skill. These are two behaviors. Behavior meaning what do they do when we press them. Montage skill, they play an animation. And weapon skill, I created a bunch of child classes, automatic skill, semi-automatic skill, which automatically says how it should behave when we press and release them. But that's going to be the subject of another video for the weapon skill and for the weapon skills. We're just going to review how what is the proper way to create your own skill behavior logic for your game. So the setup I'm recommending most of the time is to actually in your skill folder of your project create a new folder, call that behavior, and in there create a new blueprint class, which is going to be a child class of active skill. This is going to be BP my skill behavior. You want to call this however you want. Create another one. We're going to call that my active skill behavior, my active skill actually. And we are also going to create a new child class of passive skill, which we are going to call BP my passive skill, obviously. And these are going to be the skills we build our logic, our main logic in. So for instance, if we want to customize how the skills in our game deal damage or calculate their critical strike or anything, or play animation, or if we want to customize MCE built-in features, at least we will be able to customize them for all of the skills we create for our game by just modifying them in these blueprint classes. And then what you want to do now is go to the skills folder of MCE, go to behavior, and in there you have montage skill and weapon skill. And what I suggest is, if your game, if most of the skills in your game will be playing animation, I suggest you to duplicate the montage skill into your own behavior folder by just drag and dropping that, type in copy, clicking on copy, and renaming this my montage skill, for instance. And if your game, and if you want to use weapons here in your game, weapons, automatic fire, semi-automatic fire, I recommend you to duplicate weapon skill and then duplicate these. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do that. I suggest you to duplicate these. Well, that's a little bit trickier for the weapon, so I think it's just going to be the subject of another video. So if you duplicated the montage skill, you now have 3 different skills there: my passive, my active, and my montage. And you want to open up my montage skill, and you want to say that you want to go to class settings, and you want to say that the montage skill is a child class of my active skill, like this. And you want to hit compile, hit save. So now you have a parent class active skill, which you can modify, which is going to modify the behavior of all of the skills which are going to be activable in your game. You can do the same thing for the passive skill. And you also have a child class of my active skill, which plays an animation, which you can use for all of your skills that are going to play an animation. In other words, most of your skills. And why do we created active and montage? Because in montage skills, because most of the time you're going to have 2 different skill behaviors for the skills cast by your characters and the skills cast by your AI. And maybe AI skill and character skills are going to share some of their logic, and in that case you are going to build the logic in my active skill, and all the logic that is going to be specific to the AI or the character skill are going to be coded in their own skill behavior. So for instance, montage skill is the behavior reserved for the character. So if you need to build some logic specific to the character skill, you are going to build it there. But if you want to build a specific AI skill logic, you are going to build a child blueprint of this, and you are going to make that my AI skill. But this is actually also going to be the subject of another video. For now, it is just empty. We do not care about that. And you have my montage skill, which is basically the same, which has all the logic I built for MCE montage skill, but available for you to customize and modify. So one thing we need to do now is to go back to our BP slice and make that BP slice not a child class of montage skill, but a child class of my montage skill. We want to reparent this. We want to hit compile, hit save. hit play, and everything is still working. All right, we're fine with this. So now, if you want to follow other videos to customize your skills, most of the time you will be customizing things in my active skill or in my montage skill or in my AI skill, for instance. You need to, for instance, if you are following the video about customizing how critical strike works in skills, you want to ask yourself, the logic I'm building, do I want it to be shared by AI and players? If so, you want to build your logic in my active skills. But if the logic you are building should only be available for your character, you want to build your logic in my montage skill, for instance, which is basically my character skill. And maybe you want to build a game where character and AI use the same skills, and in that case you won't have my AI skill and my montage skill, you will just have my active skill, and everyone is going to use this. So now that we have this, we are going to open up my montage skill real quick, just to see what's going on there. So my montage skill is an active skill that is saying that when it starts, it's playing an animation which is stored in a variable named main montage and montage play rate. And if you don't want your skills to play an animation when you press them, just get rid of this. And if you want to add other things to do when the skill is being pressed, you can add any logic you want there. And it's also, that skill is also saying that when it receives an animation notify from the animation we just played, when it receives it, it checks what type of notify is it. If it's a notify, if it's a starting notify, we play a sound, we consume the cooldown, we actually trigger a function named consume resources, which we can double click to go. And consume resources automatically consume the cost of the skill and trigger the cooldown of the skill. So maybe you don't want the cooldown and the cost to be consumed automatically, and in that case in all of your skills, and in that case you can get rid of that node, for instance, and call these built-in MCE functions whenever you want, instead of when the start trigger anim notify triggers. And all montage skills automatically stop the use of their skills when we call an anim notify with the end enum. So this makes sure that, so this is basically a behavior that says when I press the skills, it triggers an anim, it plays a sound, and it triggers the cooldown when I started playing the animation, and it tells everyone I ended the skill when the animation ends. And we also have a bunch of functions on the left, which are basically just functions used to set up our skill metrics. I'm not going to cover them because, well, actually I'm going to quickly cover them. We are calling this function in the skill we created, BP slice. When we create the stat list, we are calling set active skill metrics and set montage skill metrics, and these are functions similar to that one. And these functions are basically storing the information we want for our skill and generating the proper stats we want for our skill. So, and rotate to targets is just a function I use in most of the montage skill to automatically rotate the target, the user of the skill towards the targets of the skill, usually the target I'm looking at or the target I got my cursor on. And in there, basically these are just function I customized for the montage skill. This is what I was talking about. Rather than customizing this function in whenever you want to customize the behavior or any built-in MCE feature for the skills in your game, you want to customize them in your skill behavior, and that's what I started doing in my montage skill. So we want to, I will just create a quick, I will just showcase the power of what we've just been doing in this video real quick. We are just going to create a new custom event named trigger gameplay effects. Maybe it's already used, no it's not. And we are going to call that event in our montage skill when we receive the anim notify that says first effect, trigger gameplay effect. We are going to call that. We are going to compile, save, go back to our BP slice, and in there you can see that we are actually saying that when that skill is being cancelled, we stop its anim montage, and when it's cancelled, we trigger specific cancel use, and we want that logic to be in all of the skills we create in the game. So we are going to cut that and paste that in our montage skill. And one of the two functions failed to properly be pasted, so we are going to bring them back. Trigger cancel effects, we want that one. We want to delete the one we pasted, and we want to delete that one and call cancel use, event cancel use, like this. That way all of the skills we create, which are child classes of montage skill, are going to cancel their animation when they are being cancelled. And now we also want to get rid of that thing. So for instance, we can delete that. And we can say that when we consume the resources of that skill, we actually do that now. And when we trigger the gameplay effects, we actually do that. So what have we done here? We basically got rid of the... If I go back to my montage skill in here, we are switching on the anim notify we are receiving, and we were doing the same thing in our BP slice, but I do not want to build that logic in each of my skills. So instead of writing that logic in each of my skills, I just created two functions, consume resources and trigger gameplay effects. And these two functions are doing generic things. Trigger gameplay effect does nothing, and consume resources consume the cost and the cooldown. And they are being called at the proper timing in my montage skill. So all of my skills are going to trigger these two events at the proper moment. And I said in BP slice, I said that trigger gameplay effect by calling that event. That event is basically this event. I'm overriding the event by calling it here, and overriding it means I can build any logic. I can call any logic I want inside it, and it's going to be called whenever this is called. So trigger gameplay effect is called when the first effect anim notify triggers. So this is going to fire that logic when first effect triggers, and that's what we were already doing, if you remember correctly. So we are triggering the damage when first effect triggers. And when start triggers, we are triggering consume resources in there. And we are overriding consume resources. And when we consume resources, we are actually consuming the cost and triggering the cooldown and switching the use. We built a special logic for that skill. But all of your skills that are not overriding consume resources are going to trigger that these two nodes when the start notify triggers. But slice is going to trigger that when start notify triggers. Did you got me? So it's quite from that point it's quite easy to create new skill. So for instance, if you go to BP slice, duplicate BP slice and say this is going to be called I don't know, furious blow, for instance. Open that up. Get rid of consume resources, everything. Get rid of reset use. You want to call that furious blow, for instance. And we are going to say that it's using another animation we did not use yet. For instance, that one. We are going to create an anim montage out of this. AM furious blow. We're going to open that up. And we are going to add a bunch of notify to that. This is the starting point. This is the main damage moment. And this is going to be the end. And we need to say that this is the first effect and this is the end effect, like this. We want to look at our anim montage in the content browser. We want to go back to Furious Blow and tell Furious Blow that it's using the montage we just created, like this. And we want to say that Furious Blow just deals damage in front of us. Furious Blow applies a status, for instance. We do not care what is it. We're going to simple apply. It's actually going to heal. It's actually going to heal, and it's actually going to heal only enemies and neutral. It's actually going to heal enemies and neutral, like this. And it's going to heal in area of effect. Everyone in the area. And we are going to say that our character has this skill by just going to our third person character, go to init skills and learn a new skill. Learn Furious Blow, hit compile. We want slice to be in 0 and Furious Blow to be in 1. And we are going to, in the 0 and 1 slot. And we are going to modify the icon of Furious Blow. Crippling arrow, for instance, like that. And we want to hit play. And we did not build the logic to play our second skill, so we are just going to build that real quick. We have a function that says use slash. We are going to copy and paste this. We are going to call that use Furious Blow, for instance. Right mouse button, like this. Can I use secondary skill? If yes, let's use secondary skill. The 1, I want to use the 1 and I want to stop the 1. Let's compile, hit play, and now I can use Furious Blow, and we're going to see if that's healed the other character. Okay, so I'm one-shotting him, and that comes from another video I made, and that's because my character has no armor. If I'm saying my character has 5 armor, I'm not going to one-shot him anymore. Alright, that's because the minimum value is 5. I want to change that value. Actually, I want to say I have 10 armor. And I can heal that guy now with my Furious Blow. And I want to create another skill real quick, just to show you the power of what we just did. For instance, I want to create another, which is, I do not care, stunning kick. Let's open that up. Let's just change the name and the icon for whatever else we want. And now, if you get rid of this, you can build any logic you want in there. any logic, any feature you want from the, you can call any feature you want from the skill, contained in the skill, and it's going to trigger. And you have a new skill, stunning kick, which you can use in your third-person character right away by just saying that instead of learning Furious Blow, you are now learning stunning kick, for instance. And stunning kick is going to say yar in the print string, top left corner, if you can see. So this is the power of the skill behaviors and creating your own skill behaviors. So this was quite a long video, but it was quite important for you to customize your game properly and not recode the same logic over and over. So it's going to wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.